you. New Testament survey, lecture 23, 2 Corinthians, page 2 here. And we'll go on about the thorn in the flesh that Paul had, and that you may have. What should you do if you suspect that God has, well, sent a devil to mess with you or just plagued your life? What do? Whine and cry and throw a fit? Go do drugs? Quit church? People do that. Well, verse 8. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, and reproaches, and necessities, and persecutions, and distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong. The last part, can you figure that out?
Amen.
What does it mean when I'm weak? That's the point there.
I mean, he's physically weak.
Right. So when I'm physically weak, then I am strong. What's that saying?
Christ gets the glory, not him.
I'm relying on God's strength.
Okay. And that would be a spiritual strength.
Right.
So physical weakness seems to support or help spiritual strength. Paul, as did Jesus Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane, officially besought the Lord, how many times?
Thrice.
Thrice. Not once, twice, but thrice. Is there a word for 4 times like that?
Thrice?
Thrice. Yeah, thrice.
What could you?
Yeah, it could be it. I don't know. But no more. Jesus did it 3 times. Paul did it 3 times. And God said, My grace is sufficient for you. Is that true? Is God just kidding him? His grace is sufficient to take care of it. Okay, is it okay to beseech God more than 3 times for a big deal in your life?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a parable, as I mentioned before, a parable of, it's called importunity. And that was put there to teach us about praying. So with that parable, we can keep praying and asking and begging and give me some bread. Wake up! I know it's 11:30 at night, but I got friends who just came on in. I need bread, and I know you got bread in there, neighbor. All right. Or was it that? Or was it with the judge? I think it was with the judge with importunity. The judge finally said, "Okay." So if you whine long enough, you can get out of almost anything. Don't tell the kids that, though.
Yeah.
But it is true. You know, if your child does whine a lot, they do tend to get their way. Right? Right?
Yes.
On occasion.
Is there a time where you will just simply accept the thing, the soreness, the problem with your health, as that's just going to be the way it is, and rely on God's grace to get you through it all? Can you just do that?
Yep.
I think Paul did that right here. He even gloried in it, because it was making him spiritually strong, to be more usable for God. It can be a huge blessing in your life if you let it be. Some of you right now in your brains are thinking, oh yeah, right, this chronic back pain, this chronic leg pain, this chronic sinus problem, whatever. That's not a blessing at all. It's been a curse. Is God's grace sufficient?
Yep.
It is. He wouldn't say it if it wasn't. So if you want to be spiritually strong, you may very well need to be made physically weak. So you look at yourself, do you want to be stronger spiritually? Do more for God? But you just kind of haven't been able to break out of whatever your state you're in? Are you willing to suffer physically? To boost out, take off out of that? Would you be willing to?
I am.
Have recurrent kidney stones? Not that one. Complications with gallbladder or irritable bowel syndrome or whatever it is, flare-ups, it just isn't going to settle down. Are you willing to have that in order to make you spiritually strong? That'd be a very interesting thing to contemplate. Would you be willing to fervently pray for God to make you physically weak? just matters how much you want to do for the Lord. I want to do more. Yet, I don't necessarily want to be in physical pain. So what would be the answer? Have it not require that. Just do more for the Lord without having the physical pain. Yeah. That's my little answer, so that's what I'm going to try. But I would throw in your prayers, but God, nonetheless, I want to do more for you. And if it's not going to happen by the way I am right now, and bring along little by little problems, issues, not all of a sudden chop off both my arms. Where am I at?
Planet Earth.
Sister Hugh, and thank you. Do you want God's mighty power to rest upon you, sister? Well, or brothers, well then beg Him to send infirmities your way. Amen! Yeehaw! Do a little click on the side. I can do that if I get loosened up. You know how you do that in Oklahoma? Jump up and click together.
Not crazy like that.
Well,
Drunk, maybe.
yeah, I'm sure people get drunk down there and they do that, and they fall. So, physical weakness can be a very, very, very good thing. A blessing from God. But usually we complain, whine, and get upset. So take pleasure in your infirmities. But only if you're going to have it used to get you closer to God. Now, I don't believe Paul was a sad, cantankerous old man. Paul was an example to all the believers. So he was happy, joyful, content in whatever state he was in, whether Oklahoma, Washington, all that. And he had all these problems probably sent by a devil or caused by a devil. Well, enough on this, but you get the picture. When you're weak, physically weak, then you can be much more spiritually strong. Someone read 11 and 12. You got it. Okay, great.
I am become a fool in glorying. You have compelled me. For I ought to have been commended of you, for in nothing am I behind the very chiefest apostles, though I do nothing. Did you say both verses?
Yes, please.
Truly the signs of an apostle were wrought among you in all patience, in signs and wonders and mighty deeds.
We just stopped.
Yeah.
Looks like it went on there, yeah. So, this is so familiar because I preached it, but Paul was, I believe, the chief of the apostles. Though he said he was not much. It was interesting, he went from being chief of sinners to chief of the apostles, chief of all Christians on the planet. Do you really think it was true he was chief of sinners at that time? And then went to be chief of all the saints?
Persecuting Christians.
Well, if you were a Christian at the time, you knew who he was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Their number one enemy.
Is the worst sin to persecute Christians?
Well,
Because you hate what they stand for, you hate their God, you hate...
Well, you're definitely fighting against God directly. I mean, that's pretty...
I'm saying that because I think it is the worst sin. Though there's horrible things with innocent children, I know. One things you can think of, but... little kids are safe from the Lord. Leading people astray spiritually. Well, Acts 2:22 says, "Ye men of Israel, hear these words. Jesus of Nazareth, a man approved of God among you by miracles and wonders and signs." Okay, so the approval, verse 12 here, for being an apostle. So apostles apparently had to have miracles, signs, and wonders done that were to authenticate them as a man of God. Does that make sense to you? Does it sound right? But weren't there non-apostles that were doing signs and various things? Wasn't there the gift of miracles?
Yeah.
So I wrote here, I assume that the apostles' signs and wonders were way above the average, well, all the others.
They probably had all the gifts.
Yeah, I agree with that. Probably had all the gifts. All how many?
33.
30. Mason.
13?
13.
26?
26.
I had the wall, but yeah, give you $1.
26.
26 is right. She follows Warner doctrine well, even though she doesn't believe it all, but she knows how to answer the question right. Amen. No, that's just up in the air. 26 That's what I'm putting down for the number. And online students are going, 26? What? That's a whole other chapter in this Bible college. Okay, so we don't see the signs of apostles anymore, do we? Kenneth Copeland, Benny Hinn, these people out there. I don't see anything like Paul was doing, or Peter and others. And I see people coming up, the standard one with their walker. They get up there, and they leave the walker, and
They work the same way.
and then they get the microphone right in the face, and he's holding them up, and isn't it exciting? Isn't it exciting? Isn't it exciting? Isn't it exciting? Putting electricity on them. By the way, I give you $100 if you really play this up good. Okay. But
He looks like he's
a devil, what can a devil do? Can a devil cause pain?
Yes.
So a devil can mess with your body. He might be able to cause inflammation to go down around a certain nerve spot where all your problems are at. Isn't that what the orthopedic surgeons, spine surgeons trying to do with a herniated disc? Yeah. They can go in and they can't create, and they can't do too much manipulation. I don't think they can zap a new leg on you. Take it off, some dead guy and run it over to you.
no.
I have no doubt that
There. What?
some of these healing ministries out there are satanic.
Right. I agree. But I think the devil, not all of it is just mumbo-jumbo fake. There are things that the devil can do to a person's body, and it can appear like they were healed.
Well, your mind has a lot of power too. Just
Sure.
for that little temporary healing, you can endorphins and
Sure, anesthesia.
yeah.
How about when you go in to see a dentist? It's just this fluid stuff that they zap in your gum, and they can do anything they want to you. And you're like, it doesn't hurt. If that wasn't there, you would have lost your mind and killed the person. 13 and 14, would someone like to read that? Please do. We'll take another break, a well-deserved one.
For what is it wherein ye were inferior to other churches, except it be that I myself was not burdensome to you? Forgive me this wrong. Behold, the third time I am ready to come to you, and I will not be burdensome to you. For I seek not yours, but you. For the children ought not to lay up for the parents, but the parents for the children.
Amen. Don't let your teenage or young adult child see that verse. Okay. Anyways, well, we should lay up for them. Verse 13 there, the church of Corinth, that church was inferior to the other churches. It was immature. It was acting like a big baby. It wasn't doing much. Paul blames himself for this. Why? What should he have done? Verse 13 says, he wasn't burdensome enough to that church. He should have been on the church's case. Tell them to sit up straight. Bible college is serious.
Amen.
If you're not at Bible college, you're nothing. Bible college, I'm just kidding. Felt good. Paul blames himself for this. A pastor needs to take responsibility for the condition of the church that they pastor. Blame yourself. We don't have a lot of people. It just must be a tough area. Well, it could be that. Also, you might be a buffoon, too. Some of them are. You're just laughing at past pastors? Can you show too much long-suffering, overlooking? It's like a child if you have children, you're raising them. You want to show mercy to them, but you can show too much, of course, to where they're a spoiled little sassy brat. You've seen parents like that, or the kids like that. Alrighty, we have to continue on the top of the next page, alright? Paul planted that church in Corinth and returned to it apparently 3 times to help it grow. Though, after studying this out a little bit more, I think it wasn't actual physical returns, but he was with them via the letters. So 1 time in person, and then 2 letters. This is the 3rd time, now I've come to you. I believe that's how it went. Has God called me to be a church planter? It's a thought I had. So going on, a patent, I have it written in here. It's kind of about church planters. See that? This is the design of a church planter. Go back and visit these churches you planted. Well, I planted one church. So I'm a church planter. Some are church takeovers. Go find an open pastorate, an open pulpit that has good salary and nice benefits. And have a good speech. Give it to them and answer all the questions the way they want to hear it. And then you can run off all the troublemakers after that and say, well, Jan. That's the way some guys do it. Pastors kind of try and build their kingdom up. A pastor is here for you to spend and be spent. They are dispensable. We are here for your benefit, or I am here for your benefit. When I have done what I can, I either die, get kicked out, you kick me out, leave the pastorate, whatever. But the goal is to have you all keep growing and keep having great things happen. Church members don't lay up for the pastor. Some pastors, I think, they think that way. All right, take a break, and we'll go to one of my favorite verses, 15.